For 38, Fort Delta, Colorado. Sergeant Nate Miller drank black coffee while standing at the barracks observation window. Dawn was barely breaking on the horizon. His squad, the Beta 9, had been on duty for the third week without a single alert. Local drills, boring inspections, endless bureaucracy. Miller was counting the hours until his vacation. There were 6 men on the squad. Sergeant Nate Miller, an Iraq veteran, tough, short-tempered, but respected. Corporal James J. Reed, sniper and women's favorite, witty but reliable. Specialist Lauren Chang, communications engineer, daughter of Korean immigrants, genius with a tablet. Corporal Dino Vega, bomber, originally from the Bronx, loud and edgy. Medic Alyssa Graves, the youngest, but with a cool head for combat. Lieutenant Tom Ransom is the team leader, a former athlete who believes in order and regulations. Suddenly, an alarm beeped in the control room. Chung was the first to run up to the terminal. Incoming alarm from the civilian line. From Denver. Very unstable. Something strange. The sound in the speakers was harsh, distorted. A man's voice. Need help. Downtown. They're not dying. God. They're eating people. The signal cut off. Lieutenant Ransom called everyone together for a briefing. Orders have been given. Our mission is to move into the signal area. Check and evacuate possible survivors. Initial reconnaissance. No aggression. Aggression will be on us, Miller muttered. If that's even half true. The Humvee truck pulled out of the base gate. Crows began circling in the sky. The radio was picking up strange interference. Lauren tried to tune in the satellite, but the signals from the city towers were starting to fade. The approach to Denver. The first thing they saw was the bus on the bridge. Wrecked, covered in blood. Doors open. Unnatural silence inside. Be careful. Weapons at the ready, Ransom ordered. They went in. Bodies in the cabin. Torn. Blood everywhere. But one body suddenly moved. Mom. Alice whispered. Is he alive? But the man jumped up, lunging at her with an inhuman growl. The face partially eaten away. Ransom fired a shot. 1, 2, it didn't work. Miller hit him in the temple with the butt of his gun. That's when he collapsed. It's not a live one. And it's not dead, he said. It's something else. Screams have started coming from the city. Smoke in the sky. Fires. Sirens. The zombie apocalypse had begun. And Beta 9 was in the middle of it. Downtown Denver. The city, once bustling and vibrant, has become a war zone. Stores have been looted. Cars are parked as if abandoned in a hurry. The air smells of burning and blood. Sirens sound in different parts of the city, lulling and reawakening. God, whispered Lauren Chang, looking at the shattered window of the cafe, where inside on the floor something lay moving. Keep up. Weapons on alert. We don't know what it is, but it's dangerous, Ransom said stiffly. The squad went deeper into the neighborhood, getting a signal from the police frequency, someone calling for help from the municipal archives building. It could be a trap, Vega muttered. Or worse, actual survivors. Either way, we don't leave our own behind, Alice replied. They entered the building through a broken door. Inside, silence and drops of blood on the floor. Next, offices, papers, phones, and a scream. Help! The team rushed to the sound. They found 3 people on the 3rd floor, a Brantley police officer, an injured woman named Claire, and her son Elliot. All scared, but conscious. The woman was bitten. How long has it been since the bite? Alice asked. About 20 minutes, maybe 30, whispered the officer. Then we have a chance, she said, unsure. Ransom quickly ordered. Vega, Reed, pick up the survivors. We're heading for evacuation. There's movement in the street. Several figures at once, unnaturally fast. One zombie lunged at a cop. Only a shot to the head stopped him. But the noise attracted the others. First contact. Miller shouted. All fire. Bullets cut off 3 of the men, but a 4th crawled under the truck. Vega didn't have time to react as the zombie clawed at his leg. Blood spurted. Vega! Ransom yelled. Miller snatched the first aid kit from Alice, started bandaging him right where he stood. The bite wasn't deep. Maybe he'd get lucky. Maybe. Vega was pale, but he was trying to make a joke. Damn, I thought I was going to lose my leg in a bar, not here. Chong turned on the satellite dish to request an evacuation. No comms. Looks like city-level suppression. Radio's dying too, she exhaled. Ransom made a decision. We look for a suitable building to fortify. Vega won't make it to the base. We need to survive at least until tonight. Miller looked at the map. There's a school 2 blocks away. Sturdy walls, big kitchen, probably generators. We'll take cover there. They moved toward the school, covering each other. The screams behind them grew louder. The zombies were gathering in packs. This was no longer a scattered threat. This was war. City High School 14. Denver. The 2-story brick building towered above the street, as if it were still waiting for school children. But on the stairs, instead of children, there were traces of blood. On the asphalt, abandoned backpacks. Second-floor windows broken. The doors are ajar. I don't see any movement, Reed said, checking his scope. But the silence here is too wrong. Miller went in first, using the shield he'd found in the police armored car. Alice followed with Vega, who was barely on his feet, pale and sweaty. I think I'm losing consciousness a little, he muttered. The loss of blood. The bite. It may have already started, Alice whispered to Miller. Keep him on his feet. Until he shows symptoms. Inside the school, the main hallway was strewn with papers and broken furniture. One of the closets was boarded up on the inside. Someone had tried to reinforce the passageway. A chalkboard read, "They're inside. Don't write. Don't whisper. Don't breathe loudly." This is closer to a horror movie, Lauren Chong muttered nervously. Second floor. Teacher's lounge. Best as a command center, Ransom ordered. They went upstairs. No one. Only in one of the classrooms, a body in a robe. A teacher. Veins slit. A piece of paper nearby. I didn't wait for them to come back. They've set up a barricade on the stairs, set up barriers and stretch marks. Water and food were in reserve. The radio was still silent. Vega was falling asleep, delirious. Alice held his hand. He was running a fever. His pulse is rapid. He's crying and laughing. It's not just an infection. It's something breaking the man. Miller went to the window and took a long look outside. I saw this in Iraq. Not with zombies. With insanity. When fear breaks the psyche and the brain gives up. Reed's back from scouting the school. Bad news. They found a storage locker in the basement. It's locked. Heard bangs from inside. Someone or something alive. Maybe survivors? Alice asked. Or a trap, Miller replied. Vega began to breathe convulsively. His eyes were rolling. He sat up abruptly, started scratching the walls. Don't look at me. Don't look at me, he whispered. It started, Alice said. He's turning. Ransom clenched his teeth. Shall we put him to sleep or? Miller stepped forward. His voice was quiet but determined. I'll do it. He was a soldier. He deserved to be honored. A gunshot. Silence. Just a breath. We're losing people. We're losing time. And we're losing control, Ransom said. We have to choose between waiting for a rescue signal or breaking through to the army depot south of town. Maybe they're still holding out there. Miller nodded. We'll get through. But first, let's see who's in the basement. Reed looked at him. Are you sure? If it's people, we can't quit. If it's not people, we'd better keep them downstairs. We are not going with you. Miller turned around. What? I see the way you're looking at Claire. You're afraid she's going to turn around. And you're right. But she's a mother. And Elliot has a right to be with her. We're not going to drag you down. Claire held her son's hand in silence, her face graying but her eyes clear. I don't want to be a burden. I want to try to save my son. Without putting your squad at risk. Alice whispered. There's still a chance. We could. There's always a chance, Brantley interrupted, but we're going our own way. Miller looked at them, then pulled a map out of his backpack and marked an old fire station 5 blocks away. There might be cars there. And supplies, if you're lucky. I believe that, Brantley replied. As the Beta Nines made their way down to the basement, the three, Claire, Elliot, and Brantley, left through the school's rear exit. The street was quiet, but too quiet. Stay close, Brantley said to the boy, and don't look back. Elliot squeezed his mother's hand. It was still warm, but all three of them knew this would be a short journey, or the last one. School number 14, basement. The door to the basement was metal with an old code lock. There was a muffled knocking coming from there. Non-rhythmic, but deliberate, as if someone wasn't just banging, but trying to get attention. Are we seriously going in there? Lauren asked, holding a stun gun and a clipboard. We have no right to ignore the survivors, Miller said. But as soon as the door opens, we act according to battle protocol. The code panel didn't work, but Reed blasted the lock with a directional charge. The door creaked open. The smell of mold, mustiness, and death hit them in the face. They slowly made their way down the stairs. The basement was larger than they had expected. Old hallways led off in different directions. On the walls were children's drawings, posters, the safety corner. Only now the corners were full of darkness. And in that darkness, the sound of crying. Is that a baby? Alice whispered. Or someone who wants us to think it's a baby, Reed muttered. They stepped out into the old storage room. Among the boxes, in the corner, sat a girl about 9 years old. Alive. Wrapped in a blanket. Hey, it's okay. Alice sat down next to her. The girl was quiet. There's a bandage on her arm. A recent bite. How long have you been here? Miller asked. Since Friday, she whispered. Mom said not to come out. She left, but I can hear her at night. She's singing behind the wall. Reed looked around the adjoining room. There were claw marks. There were scratches on the walls. The old vent was covered in dried blood. Someone had been here, and more than one. And not just the kid. What about her? Ransom asked. Alice examined the bite. Doesn't look infected. No fever. Maybe she's immune? Miller looked at the girl. She was staring at the floor, mumbling quietly. They talk in their sleep. They haven't forgotten. They remember everything. The squad led the girl upstairs. The barricade stood, but in the distance, a sound. Stomping. And a roar. A big one. There's a wave coming our way, Reed said, looking through the scope. At least 20. No, more. Group aggression. They heard the shots, and they're coming at the sound. Let's move out, Ransom ordered. Let's get the girl. Destination: an army depot in the south. Our only hope is to find an active military channel and call for an evacuation. They left the school through the back door. Zombies were approaching the main entrance. Some too fast. Some were making not just a roaring sound, but something like speech. And the girl, sitting on Alice's back, whispered, They're coming for me. I hear their names. Miller looked up at the sky. How much time is left? How much time do we have? Ransom answered briefly. Hours. Maybe minutes. Denver. Infested neighborhood number 9. The Beta 9 squad moved quickly and silently. Miller led the column, the girl on Ransom's shoulders. Behind him was Reed, covering the sniper. Chong, Alice, and the rest of the squad carried the bare minimum of equipment. Ammo, first aid kit, 1 bottle of water, and a tablet with the latest data on the city. Stay north, Lauren said, checking the map. The bridge is down, but there's an alley diagonally leading to the hospital. There might be a connection there. Or something. You don't look sure, Reed said. I'm not sure of anything. Welcome to the end of the world. Gas station intersection. Cars are burned. Smells of smoke and blood. There's movement on the pavement. A body. 1. Then 2 more. They're lying down, but they're not dead. Barely moving. Like they're listening. It's a trap, Miller whispered. We pass by. Don't shoot. Not a sound. But suddenly, the girl cries out. Jasper, one of the lying zombies, rose up. His face was half human. He whispered, "Sophie, you." He took off at a run. The others followed him. "To hell. Fight," Ransom shouted. They opened fire. Reed put 3 of them down with headshots. One zombie fell, dropping a police badge. Alice froze. It was her father. "What?" Miller asked. "The girl. She was calling for him. It was him. They remember. They're looking. Not just food, relatives." Sophie sat with her arms around her knees. Her eyes were glassy. "They want me to come. They speak to me. They're inside. The squad has taken shelter in the pharmacy." A distant rumble can be heard. A wave of zombies had passed by. But the situation was critical, less than half the ammo. Water for an hour. No communications. "We're not gonna make it to the army depot with the kid." "Too slow," Ransom said. "We're not leaving her," Miller said. "I'm not suggesting we do. But maybe we'll use her. She can sense them. Maybe she's the key." "You want to use the girl as a radar?" Alice is up, face white. "I want to survive. We all want to survive." Silence. Only Sophie whispered, "They're near. They're hungry. But they're afraid of something. Down there. Underground. In the subway. They're worse than them." Miller's up. "Then we'll change the route. Through the subway. It's quieter. Darker. Fewer zombies. And if what they're afraid of is worse, at least we'll see what we're dealing with." Chang clutched the clipboard. "Are you sure, Sergeant?" "No," he answered. "But it's no longer a matter of certainty. It's a matter of timing." 11:23. Entering the University Denver station. Going down was like falling into the jaws of the beast. The escalator stopped, lights flickering. It smelled of mold, rust, and something that had no name. Shards of glass and bones crunched underfoot. "We're going down to hell," Reed said. "I can feel it with every fiber of my being." "Shut up and walk," Miller said. Lights dimmed. Steps are minimal. The station was empty, but the walls were painted. Symbols. Repeating circles, skulls, words scratched out with fingernails. "There is no death below." He breathes beneath our feet. A whisper is a call. Lauren took a picture. It's not a zombie. It's a cult? Alice clutched the girl tighter. "Sophie, do you feel anything?" She nodded. "They don't talk here. They're afraid. Even the zombies. But someone else is here. He's watching." Somewhere down below, far away, a rumbling footstep sounded. Like something huge stepping through a tunnel. A metallic sound, like chains being pulled along the rails. Quickly across the tracks. "Next station, Aurora. There should be an exit there," Miller ordered. Moving through the tunnel, the squad finds a strange scene. Several zombies are dead. But not from gunshots. They're torn from the inside out. Some have teeth knocked out. One has his spine ripped out. "It's not us," Ransom said. "And they're not human." "Then what are they?" Lauren whispered. "A monster," Sophie replied. "Underground combat." Out of a side corridor pops something. Not a zombie. A man, but with failing eyes, wearing a cloak of black cloth, whispering in Latin. His movements are jerky. He doesn't attack, just observes. Whispering, Sophie says. He's calling out. "Lord of the Deep, dot." Reed fires, but it vanishes like a shadow, disappearing into the tunnel. The team reaches the Aurora station. There's a generator. It's old, but it works. The light flashes. And on the wall, there's an inscription in blood. "The last men who passed through here did not return. We hear them. We see them. They're in us. We'll stop here," Miller says. "We'll take a break and decide what's next." Alice looks at Sophie. She's changed. Calm. Like she's preparing. Not for running away. She's preparing for a meeting. 12:18. Aurora subway station. The quiet hum of the generator broke the tense silence. The lanterns cast a faint light on the walls, scribbled with insane phrases. The squad froze. No zombies, no people, no screams. Just waiting. Miller stood by the tunnel map. Lauren was trying to catch a signal. Alice was working on Sophie's arm. She was cold, pale, and calm. How much time do we have before we get out? Ransom asked. If you go through the southern branch, an hour. But there's a chance of a cave-in, Chong said. The northern branch is longer, but cleaner, at least according to the 2022 scheme. We won't have enough time if she dash. Alice stopped talking, looking at the girl. She's changing. Sophie opened her eyes. He's close. He's coming up. He's not a zombie. He's not human. He was here before humans. And then there's a bang. It's like the ground itself shook. Just fell from the ceiling. Somewhere down the tunnel, a roar. Not zombies. Deeper. Bassy. Inhuman. All hands on deck. Miller shouted. Out of the darkness slipped the Whisperer's former humans, with empty eyes and skulls covered in symbols. They didn't run. They crawled. And they whispered. The Lord will come. The blood leads the way. The sacrifice is ready. Ransom threw a grenade. One Whisperer shattered, but the others didn't stop. Something rose from beneath the tracks. Not fully visible. Just a silhouette, tall, twisted, overgrown with bone and flesh. It stretched out an arm, long as a pole, and pointed at Sophie. He needs her, Reed whispered. He's come for her. If we give her to him, he'll go away, Ransom said. We'll survive. All of us. Except for her. Then we're not soldiers, Miller said harshly. He grabbed the girl and pushed the others away. We're going north. I'll cover you. You can't stand alone, Lauren shouted. Too then, Reed said, standing up beside him. It's time to pay for humanity's mistakes. Alice, Lauren, and Ransom and Sophie ran down the north tunnel. Behind them, gunfire. Screams. A whisper, turning to a rumble. And a final, powerful roar, as if hell itself was breathing down their backs. There's a light up ahead. A signal light. An army roadblock? Or the last illusion? Sophie whispered. He won't leave. Not as long as I'm alive. Alice squeezed her hand. We won't give you up. No matter what. You're ours now. Exit the subway. East side of Denver. The stairs were partially blocked, but the light outside seemed real. Alice led Sophie, supporting her under her shoulders. The girl was breathing heavily. The face was gray. Eyes not hers. But she was still herself. For now. Ransom went first, automatic at the ready. Lauren covered the back, looking down into the darkness time after time. Do you think they made it out? She whispered. I don't know, Alice answered. But I can only hear our blood. Outside is an army perimeter. Metal walls, floodlights, armored vehicles. Live soldiers. One of them raised his hand. Halt. Identify yourself. Lieutenant Tom Ransom, Beta, 9 Unit. 3. One child. Get inside now. The doors slammed behind them. The medics came running. One started to examine Sophie, but his hand froze on her skin. Temperature's 41. Pulse is unstable. It's an infection, or something else. Alice pushed him away. Don't touch it. She's not aggressive. Bye. Command Center. Colonel Carter is gray-haired, sturdy, eyes red from insomnia. Map on the screen. Most of the city's already lost. Where's the rest of your squad? Miller and Reed stayed in the subway. Holding the passageway, Ransom answered. They knew what they were doing. We didn't just find zombies, sir. We found a cult. And something underground. The girl, she's connected to it. He's looking for her. Carter listened in silence. Then he nodded. Then she mustn't stay here. What? Alice jumped up. You want to kill her? I want people to live. Not something that leads an army of dead people. There's an alarm downstairs. There's a wave moving toward the perimeter. Zombies. Whisperers. And among them, him. A tall silhouette with many eyes. He moved leisurely, but everything around him was shaking. The spotlights blinked. He's coming, Sophie said. And if you kill me, he'll break down the walls. If I go out to him, maybe he'll go away. That's not an option, Alice said. We'll find another way. It's a question of hours, Carter said. If we don't evacuate in 30 minutes, he'll reach the command center. Then neither we nor the girl will be saved. Lauren intercepted a radio signal. There's an active chopper to the south. Only one. 2 blocks away. Carter looked at them. Take the girl. Take your chance. And run. I'll hold them off here. This is my perimeter. My responsibility. Ransom salutes. For Miller. To all of them. They've gone out a side exit. Smoke on the horizon. And black figures, like ants, moving behind them. But they didn't attack. They waited. Eastern sector. The ruins of the city. Alice, Ransom, Lauren, and Sophie made their way through alleys littered with rubble and bodies. The streets were silent, but something was watching around every corner. The Whisperers didn't attack. They simply followed, not coming closer, not lagging behind. Why aren't they attacking? Lauren asked, clutching her weapon. Sophie walked in silence. Only when they reached the block by the abandoned hospital did she whisper. Because he's waiting. Not them, me. A helicopter stood on the roof of the hospital. The pilot, pale, exhausted, ready for immediate takeoff. Below him, an army technician waving his hand. Move. We're taking off in 5 minutes tops. Ransom was the first to rush forward, clearing the passageway. Alice pushed Sophie toward the stairs. But the girl stopped. I can't. What? Alice turned around. If I leave, he'll follow me. Wherever I am. He's attached to me. I am his anchor. He whispers in me. And if I take off, you'll only delay the end. Ransom stepped up, gritting his teeth. We won't leave you. Sophie looked at him. Then you will stay with me. A wave advanced from behind the horizon. Hundreds. Thousands. In the center is him. Something of bone, flesh, and darkness. Tall as a building. With many heads. Each one whispering. Sophie stands up. Her face is calm. It's inside me. I can't drown him out. Only for a moment. But for you, it's enough. To fly. To leave. To finish the story I can't. Alice fell to her knees. No. I won't let you die. You're a child. Sophie took her hand. I am the beginning of something new. But I don't have to be the end. She walked out to the middle of the roof, arms raised. The wave of zombies froze. The whispers became a single sound, then subsided. The giant stopped. The wind disappeared. Get in the chopper now, shouted the technician. Alice stood. Lauren was sobbing. Ransom took their hands. If we don't leave, her sacrifice will be empty. They ran into the helicopter. The propeller began to spin. Sophie closed her eyes and whispered, I'm not afraid of you. Take off. The helicopter rose into the air. From the height, they saw the giant begin to crumble. Its flesh crumbled like ash. The zombies, one by one, dropped to their knees. Silence enveloped the city. And on the rooftop, Sophie stood until the end, staring up at the sky. The airspace over Colorado. The helicopter flew over the charred city, over empty streets and black dots frozen in an impossible silence. The zombies no longer moved. The Whisperers were gone. The shadow that had held everything in fear had crumbled with the one whose name was now impossible to utter without shuddering. Alice looked down without looking away. The girl's silhouette was still visible on the roof. She knew what she was doing. She whispered. And she did what we couldn't, Ransom said. Lauren closed the tablet. The last entry was the coordinates, Area 0. Subway. Depth -3. Access denied. Miller. Read, she said. They were soldiers, Ransom said, and became something more. They stayed so we could leave. Gunnison Army Camp. A secure area. They were met by medics, psychologists, headquarters representatives. The questions poured in one after another. Where have you been? What did you see? Who was left behind? How did it end? Alice held the answer alone. A little girl saved the whole town. And you won't even see her. Ransom sat against a blank wall, clutching the last page from Miller's notebook in his hands. It had been found at the subway entrance. Handwritten in blood. If we don't stand, let one of us stand. If one stands, let him pass it on. That fear is not an enemy. And indifference is a traitor. We fought. We remained human. Field cemetery. 3 shell casings. 3 names. Miller. Reed. Sophie. Alice placed a small doll in front of the plates. No eye. The hair is burned. But inside, a heart. Thank you, she whispered, for everything that didn't let it happen. Radio broadcast. Alice's voice sounded into the empty frequency. If anyone can hear, if you survived. This is not the end. This is the beginning of a new world. We remember. We kept the fire alive. And we build anew. Sophie's name is in every stone, in every hand, in every heart. It's been exactly 24 hours.